Have you ever noticed how many new modern military real-time games seem to ignore the fact that drone warfare has changed real-world battlefields forever? And their developers keep making games which focus on tactics which have been erased from existence by recon, FPV and bomber drones. We might as well call these types of games pre-drone era. And that is why I love indie developers and their projects like Final Strategy, which comes out today on Steam and isn't bound by old school thinking or design. It boldly jumps off the cliff of past conventions and jumps straight into the current state of things. This single-player only game features recon drones which let you scout enemy positions and attack them with long-range missile artillery before they even know you're in the field of battle. Then you get to use small ground-based drones filled with explosives and kamikaze them into enemy armored vehicles, all the while playing a narrative-driven and voice-acted campaign made up of a chain of handcrafted missions on medium-sized maps filled with objectives.
What once belonged to different nations was now controlled by one powerful force.
Another type of drone you get to launch at enemies with explosive consequences are fixed-wing ones catapulted from land vehicles. I should probably mention that this dev applied Steam's recommendations to regional prices, so you will have a custom price in your Steam client when checking out this game store page. If you want more freedom in how you play Final Strategy, there are several other game modes where you get objectives, but they are more open-ended on how you accomplish them, like Hunt, Strategy, Puzzle and Night Operations. Yes, I know the one titled Strategy could use a better name. That is just one of dozens of feedback points I already gave or soon will give this solo indie dev. Despite this not being an early access release, but a full release, the solo indie dev already told me he plans to support the game, improve it based on feedback, and add not just features the game is currently missing, like an attack move or double click to select same units, but to add content he wasn't able up to today's release. I do have to say that having nighttime missions is an ultra rare sight in any type of RTS game. Yes, some have night and day cycles, like the upcoming solo project titled Hyperwar, which I showcased to you several times already, link up here and in the description. But here in Final Strategy, there is an entire game mode dedicated to this. Sneaking around with a mass of armored units with their headlights on, all the while enemy recon drones zip by the map at a few meters, is of course not realistic at all, but it's a fun new experience you won't find in many other games. Another cool feature is the custom battle mode, where you can choose units from a list and pick as many as you want to be yours or enemies and pit them against each other on an open map. Here you can learn which units are a counter to which, look through their stats and capabilities, and practice the first or third person mode. Yes, you can enter a vehicle and drive it using WASD and fire off its main gun at enemies. You do it by clicking on the camera icon in the unit's UI and exit using the F key. Using this feature with artillery or tanks gives you a whole new presence on the battlefield. It's not a standard feature in such games, and it is a welcome extra way to have fun with it. I must admit that this game and its gameplay as a whole reminds me to an extent of Soldiers of Anarchy or Soldiers Heroes of World War II, just minus the inventory management feature. Missions are structured to respond to players' actions only to a point, and the rest of the way you can cheese the AI and play as you wish as long as you have the units for it in the current mission. You are able to pick your path through the map, experiment with different approaches to objectives, and there is little hand-holding. There is that satisfying moment when you learn the mission, figure out the units and their possibilities, and then plan and pull off a perfect ambush or an attack maneuver. Like when you get units in the campaign which have smoke grenade launchers and you put on a smoke curtain to get non-combatant units through enemy lines. Sure, there is a lot of stumbling around before you get such moves, right? But getting to that feeling of success reminds me highly of the fun I had in the aforementioned games. If you play those and still remember them fondly to this day, sound off in the comments below. Some glaring problems I have to mention, however, is for example the lack of a save and load option inside missions. For a game that lets you experiment with your approach, being able to save and load between attempts is crucial. While being forced to start over because you didn't click on something properly during one of many engagements inside a single mission is infuriating. This is a tall order for solo indie devs, as the save and load functionality is a pain to create for real-time strategy or tactical games. So if this is a feature you can't live without, give this dev some time to try and figure it out. A feature he will put in immediately is being able to stop cutscenes, so you don't have to watch them each time you start over a mission. While my favorite mission so far in Final Strategy is the one where I was able to steal enemy long-range missile launchers and use drones to guide their attacks over base walls and such, the very first mission was full of scripted and non-scripted moments which let me plan out and execute different tactics. The only feature I was missing to be better at this was being able to see each unit's vision and attack range. This is something I already asked the dev to implement, along with a visual cue for when units have their line of sight blocked. Because tanks, for example, can't fire from behind racks of other vehicles or over piles of supplies. Those kinds of elements show you there is proper depth to this game, despite its flaws, most of which can be fixed in future versions. If you want to see more about this game, let me know in the comments, while on the screen and in the description you can find more videos about fresh new RTS games. Thank you for watching and happy gaming!